Guess who's criticising Australia for imposing one of the most brutal lockdowns in the developed world? Piers Corbyn? Amnesty International? Human rights campaigners? No. It's literally the communist Chinese government. The Global Times, the official mouthpiece for the CCP, published a scathing editorial describing Australia's decision to send members of the military to occupy Sydney and enforce lockdown as a move that seemed, quote, draconian among nations. Yeah, chances are if even Beijing is taken aback by your level of authoritarianism, that's a pretty draconian brand of authoritarianism. Now, obviously, on the one hand, China is just clapping back at Australia for the Morrison government's earlier criticism of China's atrocious disregard for human rights when it came to imposing its own lockdown, but the fact remains, he who fought with monsters has become the monster. Australia gazed into the abyss, and now the abyss gazes back at Australia. Because just like communist China, Australia is now officially a biosecurity police state. Australia is a post-democratic country. How else could you describe a country where protest is outlawed? Where under a newly proposed law, those who risk arrest by even daring to attend a demonstration are subject to onerous fines of up to $5,500. Where those who merely post anti-lockdown information online could face fines of up to $11,000, where protest organisers face fines of $20,000, where pregnant women who promote such protests on Facebook are arrested in front of their kids in their own homes. How else could you describe a country where people face $500 fines for failing to wear a face mask outside, where surveillance drones are deployed to catch the unmasked?
They're the eyes and voices in the sky.
Social distancing is critical.
Where grandmas sitting on park benches are arrested for not wearing masks. Where the public is ordered by top health officials not to speak to each other, even if they're wearing masks.
Whilst it is in human nature to engage in conversation with others, to be friendly, unfortunately, this is not the time to do that. So even if you run into your next door neighbour in the shopping centre, in the Coles, whilst you're at Coles or Woolworths or Aldi or any other grocery shop, don't start up a conversation. Now is the time for minimising your interactions with others. Even if you've got a mask, don't start up a conversation.
How else could you describe a country where police have the power to enter homes without a warrant to ensure compliance with coronavirus rules, where authorities gave themselves the power to remove children from the custody of their parents to ensure compliance with coronavirus rules, where people are prevented from travelling further than 3 kilometres from their homes, where surveillance choppers are used to track down people who camp in remote locations, where senior government ministers refuse to rule out Australians being forced to wear electronic ankle bracelets, even if they're fully vaccinated, to make sure they're complying with home quarantine orders, where laws are under consideration giving authorities the power to arrest, quote, conspiracy theorists if it's thought they may commit a crime in the future. Australia continues to pursue a disastrous zero COVID policy that has seen towns 800 miles from the nearest city locked down after just one single COVID case. The country also continues to impose medical martial law measures that are so despotic even China is jealous. When the world's leading communist dictatorship expresses surprise at the lengths you're prepared to go to subjugate your own population, you know for sure that something's rotten down under.